Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Deal. Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks, they make a statement Saturday afternoon against the USC. And to the Oregon fans who've been rocking with the boys all year long, we've talked about this storyline. This storyline that, hey, Oregon's been a really good football team. Like, I ain't breaking any news to anybody, but a lot of Oregon fans that follow this program closely, that recognize how young this football team is, I think we all recognize that there's another gear for Oregon to reach in the back half of 2025. And I think you saw Oregon take a step forward and towards a reaching that gear. And I'll say this right off the bat, though, they reached that top gear. Oregon plays their best football over the next couple of weeks. There's not a team across the country that they cannot beat. And it's really fun to see this Oregon team grow up. We got a lot of storylines to get into. I'm going to say this one right off the bat, Dill. We saw a fundamental difference in what we saw from Oregon yesterday. Defensive line. I mean, we've talked about, hey, as Oregon gets into these really meaningful games in the back half of the year, do you think Dan Lanning cuts down on the amount of defensive line rotation? Because it's been pretty clear, Amari Washington, Bear Alexander, they're your horses up front. Dill, you saw that. Like Bear Alexander, season high 62 snaps in this football game. Amari Washington, season high 64 snaps in this football game. As we get into the postseason, you're going to see them use Bear and Amari a lot. And I don't blame them because what they do on the inside when they're on the football field together makes this Oregon defense feel different. Here's the other thing, and I apologize. I'm going long on the intro, so I'll cut it in a second. The depth of this football team. Go back and look at how we talked about this team in August. It's Dan Lanning recruits the high school ranks really well. And you have a ton of freshmen making an impact on this team. They develop really well. They use the transfer portal very well. Want to know what else they do well? And it ain't flashy to talk about this, though. Player retention. They don't lose the guys they don't want to lose. Like Fox Crater. How about a golf clap for Fox Crater coming in, playing left tackle in the biggest game of the season for Oregon and grades out? How about this? PFF grades, best pass protector on the football field for the Oregon Ducks yesterday afternoon. That kind of depth on both sides of the football, it makes this team different. In the back half of November, going into the college football playoffs, all these teams dealing with injuries, man, the teams that have the best depth are normally the teams that bubble up to the top. Oregon's got elite depth at almost every position on the football field. A lot to talk about. I apologize for the long intro. Before we do, and as always, I want to ask the Oregon fans one thing. Hey, what are the expectations for this football team over the next couple of weeks? Because, Dill, my expectations, this team's capable of doing it. They're capable of winning a national championship. Ain't no question about it. To the Oregon fans who've been riding the roller coaster all year, appreciate you guys. It's been a blast talking this football team. The amount of support's been amazing. Y'all do enjoy the content. Consider subscribing to the channel. Dill, I'm going to put you on the tee box. Let's start with this Oregon offense. 42 points put up on the board, 436 total yards. Biggest takeaways from what we saw Saturday afternoon.
It's got to be the depth up front because honestly, coming into this year, that was a question of mine. I mean, you go out and grab 2 portal tackles, a portal guard. Like, they hit that offensive line spot pretty aggressively. Yeah. And again, like, they hit on those guys. Like, Fox Crater is awesome for sure. I mean, there's a difference with him and Isaiah World, especially in the run game. But, like, what he was able to do, what Charlie Picard was able to do, I mean, like, they don't miss that big of a beat. Like, they still were really balanced with those guys in there. They were able to run the ball. Obviously, the pass protection held up all game. To be able to roll that many guys through that the offensive line and really, like, maintain the standard, if you will, really, really impressive.
There's not a lot of teams that can do that, especially when you're talking about 2 players in Isaiah World and Poncho on the end. Those are not just NFL dudes. Like, they're both going to be top 100 picks. This is some of the best offensive linemen that we see in the country. And then you talk about, like, Dill, Fox Crater's not even tackle 3. Janoris Wilson's tackle 3. Fox Crater comes in as, tackle 4 or 5 on this football team. And you don't notice him as a problem. Graded out as the best pass protector on the football field for Oregon. There are not a lot of teams that don't lose a step when they lose that caliber of offensive lineman. Oregon's one of those teams. I want to backtrack on something, like a hand up. I don't know why I left the game with this conclusion, But yesterday afternoon, I said, I don't think Dante Moore is the sharpest we've seen him. Probably wrong. And what was it Dante Moore's best game? No, probably not. Dante Moore's had a lot of good football games this year. He was really damn good, Dill. I mean, 22 of 30, and like a couple of those incompletions were not on Dante Moore. Made a lot of high-level throws. How about this? The 3 of 3 on throws, 20-plus yards down the field, worked the boundary really well. We talked about that one difference between Dante Moore and Dylan Gabriel of last year. There's one quarterback that's got a little bit more juice, can attack more areas of the field, can open up this Oregon offense in a way Dylan Gabriel just wasn't capable of. You saw that on full display for Oregon last night against
Especially
USC.
the way he's been throwing on the run. That's been the big one for me because I feel like we talked about like his athleticism wasn't going to be good enough because it was a limiting factor in his time at UCLA.
Agreed.
Like it's just like, oh, he couldn't escape pressure, wasn't really great on the run. Like I look at a couple of those plays where throwing back behind his body a little bit, just being able to make a lot of throws on the run. And again, it's creating a lot of space, it feels like, for this Oregon offense. So they can get to pretty much any play in the playbook. And I look like there's a lot of room to run the ball, a lot of room to throw the ball, get the ball down the field, work underneath it. To me, it's like this was probably the most complete offensive performance, I'd say. And that's adjusting for like strength. Like USC is no Rutgers. USC is a much better defense than Rutgers. So I think this performance where, again, 179 on the ground, 257 in the air, really just complete, like kind of all things go, if you will, for this offense, which we haven't seen all year. Like there have been too many moments where either the passing attack stagnated a little bit or they're not getting to the run. This is like the type of performance that makes me feel really good if I'm an Oregon fan about what this offense
two things I'll add to what you said. Number one, that comment on Dante Moore and the playmaking ability, even his ability to use his legs as quarterback design stuff, which in big moments Oregon has gone to and has had success with.
Especially in the red zone.
Go back to go and that's I mean, you talk about the one step Oregon needs to take, just be better in the red zone. They were pretty damn good in the red zone yesterday. Go back to August. You know, what was the one of the biggest storylines for Oregon in general was Dante Moore's athleticism. Has he become a little bit more of a playmaker? And you have to give Dante Moore so much credit. It is very clear the amount of effort this kid has put into transforming his body and becoming a better athlete. A lot of quarterbacks, I was about to say something a little disrespectful. A lot of quarterbacks that don't like that stuff, though. Like they'll go out on the field and rip the ball around the yard and throw on air. Like the quarterbacks that get their bodies right, and so they can be athletes on the football field. You need that when you want to play in the playoffs, right? Like when you play a team like Ohio State, they ain't going to be perfect. You're going to have to extend plays and go be an athlete. Dante Moore has massively answered those questions this year for Oregon. To your multi-dimension, that was the definition of why USC couldn't really do much, right? Like USC, if they want to give you a light box, Oregon's running the football on them all day. Right. So what did USC do? Hey, we're going 3 linebacker sets. You saw them go to some 5 defensive linemen, walking safeties in the box. They were putting bodies to the box to deal with that Oregon rushing attack. Let's hit you where you ain't. Okay, you want to load the box. We're spitting the ball outside. The thing is, you want to load the box on Oregon, you better be able to cover their wide receivers, and USC couldn't really, right? That's what makes this offense so
And I continue to be very impressed by Malik Benson, what he's done, stepping into that number one guy role. And again, DeCorian Moore, I mean, he was making it happen before his injury. And like when he gets back and the way Malik Benson's kind of able to like pick the torch up a little bit and again, do everything, like work himself underneath, make plays with the ball in his hands after the catch, be able to take the top off a little bit, like to me, and the rhythm he's playing with Dante Moore, like that out route. I know it's not the most impressive thing in the world, but like really good timing. That's just like a really hard thing to defend if you can operate it. And I felt like those two are really in sync for most of that game.
I was dead wrong about Malik Benson. Right when Malik Benson committed to Oregon, and I credit the Oregon fans in the comment section. We're like, oh, we're betting on it. We're betting here. Yeah, you got right. Dan Lanning got this one right. Look at Malik Benson. We knew he had the trace. It was a big body that can really, really run. 10-4 guy in the 100-meter dash. Had never really been a good wide receiver, though. At Alabama was not very good. At Florida State was not very good. He's put it all together.
Talk about like turning some guys' careers around. Like him and Bear Alexander were two guys.
Yeah, dude.
You were so excited about potential and just never played particularly great football until they wind up at Oregon. Now both are playing like all Big Ten, maybe all American kind of levels.
That's a great segue to the defense because the biggest storyline to me was that Amari Washington and Barry Alexander. Look, it's one thing to go out there and play 60-plus snaps. It's another thing to not really drop a beat even in the fourth quarter. It's a lot of work for them big dogs. They're in shape, man, and they're playing hard. Barry Alexander on the day, 4 quarterback hurries, 2 run stops, playing a ton of football. What was really difficult for USC here is they very clearly could not run the football. Linebackers and run fits, man. This is one of the better games we've seen from Bryce Betcher in his career, and he's had a lot of good football games. I don't think they missed a run fit all game. USC got pretty one-dimensional there, and Oregon was starting to turn it up. And although they did not light up the stat sheet in terms of negative plays, I think they had 1 sack, 6 TFLs. Jaden was very uncomfortable all game. And I don't want to say it was lucky because I got too much respect for the USC playmakers to say it was lucky. Like they were just throwing it up to Jacoby Lane and throwing it up to Tanook Hines, and those are really, really good. And Mekhi Lemon, obviously, and they made some plays. That's kind of all they had going for them at times, still. I mean, they couldn't run
stylistically, they had the game, I think, stylistically called, if you will, because it was going both ways. I mean, I thought Oregon had some PI or that PI.
Oh, agreed.
Like that's ticky. It was both ticky tack, I thought, for the most part. Yeah. That was like probably advantage USC. Like some of those calls I thought were just top. And you could maybe make an argument for him for sure, but like some of those on Brandon Finney, that one on Iffy, like those were I don't know, those balls are like you throw it up in the air. I think both guys have an opportunity to go try to make a play on it, and both guys are being really physical, as frankly Oregon's corners have been all year. But that's been a big difference from last year, because last year it didn't feel like they played that way. They didn't get hands on guys. They weren't physical. They weren't challenging wideouts as much. Like you talk about the no-fly zone, that's why it's changed. They got 2 big physical, really aggressive corners who want to challenge wide receivers and be really competitive.
Yeah, we had, and I don't want to get too far down the like official rabbit hole here. Like the Big Ten's they've been keeping the flag in the pocket on that type of stuff most of the year. Like we're Michigan guys, we've been watching it too. They are going to let you put hands on each other for the most part. You got a group of refs that were a little bit more liberal with the flag. Flag was coming out a little bit more. It is what it is. Brandon Finney had a quote-unquote tough game. This is a true freshman going up against NFL wide receivers. The kid's going to battle, and the kid was battling, right?
And I'll say, adjusted. They're just like, I don't know, they made big plays.
Yeah, and I'll also say this. It is very, very hard to deal with a jump ball against Jacoby Lane without committing some pass interference every once in a while. Like, Jacoby Lane's just that guy in those contested catch situations. I want to give 2 more shout-outs. Mateo Yu, we talk about another thing you want to see is your best players playing their best in the big moments. Mateo Yu, who has – well, he's not been bad. But he's been a little quiet. You know, maybe not the impact on the football game that maybe we expected back in August. He had a very big impact on this football game. Again, not necessarily box score, run-stopping ability, really making Jaden uncomfortable. And then Jaden Kennedy.
Yeah.
Talk about another guy that you just didn't really see when he committed to Oregon from Ole Miss. I was like, all right, maybe the starting nickel. I don't know. He's playing at an all-conference level, and that's a really important position too. You got to be able to fit the run, be sticky in coverage. I think he's been really, really good for the Ducks the last couple of months.
I mean, just an unreal battle with Mekhi Lemon.
And you needed him.
Nobody stopped Mekhi Lemon for the most part this year. And Jaden Kennedy, like taking the ball away, being really good man coverage. Again, being able to challenge really good wide receivers and not give a ton up over the top. Just he's been a really good tackler, as the whole secondary, frankly, has. It's been another big difference in this Oregon team. Like, they all tackle in the back end. It's
such a fast unit, man. It's so much faster. They close on ball carriers way different than they did last year. Let's round it out on this, still. Like, my elevator pitch for like people to start respecting this Oregon team, it's, hey, I got a coach I trust in Dan Lanning, right? And coaching staff. Like, it's a really, really good staff all over the board. That matters in this kind of season where there's not like a ton of talent differentially. You got to have good coaches. Okay. Trust the coaching staff. How many quarterbacks do I trust more than Dante Moore? Like, not many. When Dante Moore is playing his best football, he might be the best quarterback in the country. He's probably the most talented passer in the country, right? Elite difference makers on the outside. An offensive line is there a better offensive line in the sport right now?
No, I don't think
I don't think so, right? I don't think so. Yeah, quarterback, you trust, coaching staff, you trust, offensive line, you trust, 2 NFL edge rushers, top 5 secondary in the country. Like, dude, like what box is this football? This football team is checking every single box you want to see them check going into the college football playoffs. Now it's just about playing consistent and your best football in the big moments. And if you do that, I'll say is a fundamental difference. Last year, Dill, this was a very good football team. They went undefeated in the regular season. They won the Big Ten. They did not have the ceiling that Ohio State had. So when Ohio State played their best football, Oregon just couldn't really match it, right? And they played a bad game that in the Rose Bowl, but they couldn't really match Ohio State. This year they can. And this year, I don't know if they can't match a single team from a ceiling standpoint across the country. You play your best football, you have a real chance to win a national championship. All right. Close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. There was no way we were just going to move on from this game after an instant reaction. We'll talk to y'all later.